You've had days like this. Work drained you, your brain feels cooked, and every perfect routine video on YouTube looks like it was designed for someone who doesn't actually have a life. You're not skipping your routine because you're weak. You're skipping it because by the time night comes, your brain is objectively running on fumes. Psychologists call this self-regulatory fatigue or ego depletion. After a long day of decisions, stress, and self-control, your capacity to override impulses drops sharply. That's why you can hold it together with food, focus, and emotions all day, then blow it all between 9 p.m. and midnight. Your current routine is failing for a simple reason. It was built for your best self, not your exhausted self. This video is about building a samurai routine for the worst version of you, the version that wants to collapse on the couch and disappear into a screen. A routine that works when you're tired, stressed, and done. By the end, you'll have a 3-part, 10 to 15-minute nightly kata you can run even half asleep, plus a disaster night version for when everything goes wrong. And if you want to go beyond survival into a full 66-day forge, there is a complete protocol that takes this foundation and turns it into total discipline. But everything starts here, on the nights when you feel like you have nothing left. Why willpower doesn't work at night. Most self-help advice quietly assumes your willpower at 10 p.m. is identical to your willpower at 10 a.m. That's fantasy. All day long you're spending mental energy on decisions, what to say in that meeting, whether to hold your tongue, which task to prioritize, whether to open social media or stay focused. Classic ego depletion research shows that acts of self-control draw from a limited pool, and after repeated exertion, people become more impulsive, less persistent, and more likely to choose short-term comfort over long-term goals. By night, you're not just tired, you're neurologically less capable of self-restraint. On top of that, evening routines are often overloaded with well-intentioned habits that look great on paper and collapse in reality. People try to stack reading, journaling, deep cleaning, inbox zero, stretching, long walks, and content creation into the last 2 hours of the day. Studies on evening habits and burnout show that this kind of overpacked night actually worsens sleep, increases stress, and leads to more fatigue the next day. You go to bed overstimulated, wired by screens and tasks, then wonder why you wake up feeling like you've been hit by a truck. A samurai doesn't pretend the battlefield is different from what it is. At night, the battlefield is low energy, low patience, and high temptation. Designing a routine that depends on high motivation in that state is like bringing a wooden sword to a gunfight. The question isn't, how can I force myself to do more when I'm dead tired? The real question is, what is the minimum effective ritual that still moves me forward even when I'm running on empty? So the samurai routine you're about to build respects 3 non-negotiable realities. First, your willpower is at its weakest, so the routine must demand almost none of it. Second, your brain is overstimulated, so the routine must calm, not hype. Third, tomorrow morning's success is determined tonight, so the routine must focus on protecting sleep and removing friction from your first moves tomorrow. If a habit doesn't serve one of those 3 purposes, it doesn't belong in your exhausted night protocol. The minimum viable samurai routine. When you're exhausted, the goal of a routine changes completely. It's no longer about winning the day or racking up impressive habit streaks. You missed that window hours ago. The goal becomes much simpler and far more strategic. Don't make things worse. Recover a bit of energy and set tomorrow up so that your half-awake version can still act like a warrior. That's what a minimum viable samurai routine is built to do. Habit formation research shows that small, consistent behaviors performed in the same context are what actually wire into automatic habits over time. And despite the popular myth of 21 days, large analyses suggest the median time for a new behavior to feel automatic is around 66 days, with simpler habits forming faster and complex ones taking months. That means a 10-minute routine you can repeat every bad night for 66 days will beat a 60-minute perfect routine you can only maintain twice a week. Consistency beats intensity when it comes to rewiring your brain. So instead of designing some cinematic samurai montage, you're going to build a 3-part Kata: body reset, environment reset, and mind reset. Each part takes about 3 to 5 minutes, requires almost no thinking, and is always performed in the same order. On a normal tired night, you do all 3. On a disaster night, you drop to the ultra-minimal version and still keep the chain alive. The power is not in how impressive any single night looks. It's in the fact that you never completely drop to zero. Think of it this way: every time you run this tiny routine when you could have done nothing, you're voting for a different identity. You're teaching your nervous system that even at its lowest, there is a baseline of intentional action. Over weeks, that baseline becomes your new default. That's how a samurai routine is built, not through heroic one-off efforts, but through embarrassingly small wins that never stop. Part 1. Body reset. Your body is the gatekeeper for everything else. When you're exhausted, what you usually do is collapse into a chair, scroll endlessly, snack mindlessly, and then drag yourself to bed far later than you intended. That pattern keeps your nervous system stuck in a wired but tired state. Sympathetic arousal from screens and stress, combined with physical stagnation. A samurai routine has to interrupt that loop gently, not with punishment, but with a controlled downshift. Research on evening routines and sleep hygiene consistently finds that small actions like hydration, light movement, and reducing screen exposure before bed improve both sleep quality and next-day alertness. You don't need an hour of yoga to benefit. Even 2 to 5 minutes of gentle activity and a clear boundary on screens makes a measurable difference. So instead of asking your depleted brain to do a full workout, you ask it for something it can actually say yes to. Stand up, drink water, move a little, then create distance from your devices. The body reset. Kata is deliberately simple. First, you pour and drink 1 full glass of water. No app, no habit tracker, just water. Second, you do 2 minutes of slow movement, walking around the room, light stretching, or an easy mobility flow. This isn't exercise. It's a signal to your body that battle mode is ending. Third, you set or respect your screen cutoff time, 10 to 30 minutes before bed. And when that moment comes, you put your phone face down or out of arm's reach. That's it. 3 moves, always in the same order. Over time, these micro-actions become a cue stack. The sensation of the water, the brief movement, the screen boundary, together they become your body's signal that it's safe to start powering down. You're not forcing relaxation. You're creating conditions where your physiology can do what it's designed to do. And the best part, because this sequence is so light, you can do it on nights when you feel 2 out of 10 in energy, not just when you're already feeling healthy. Part 2. Environment reset. Tomorrow's discipline is decided tonight by the way you shape your environment. Studies on decision fatigue and self-control show that when you reduce the number of choices and lower friction before a behavior, you massively increase your chances of following through later. The opposite is also true. Waking up to clutter, notifications, and unfinished messes creates instant overwhelm and drains your limited morning willpower before you've even started. The Japanese approach to discipline takes environment seriously. Tea rooms, dojos, and workspaces are intentionally minimal because every object competes for a slice of your attention. When you're exhausted, you will always follow the path of least resistance. The point of the environment reset is to make the disciplined path the easiest one tomorrow, not the hardest. That means your tired self spends a few minutes tonight, so your even more tired morning self doesn't have to fight the battlefield alone. The environment reset has 3 fixed moves. First, you put your phone outside the bedroom. on a desk, in the kitchen, anywhere that forces you to physically get up if you want it. This single act can break late-night doom scrolling and fix half of your morning routine because you're no longer waking up to instant notifications. Second, you clear one surface, your desk, kitchen counter, or bedside table, not the whole house, just one battle station that will be clean and ready in the morning. Third, you lay out tomorrow's first move, clothes for training, notebook and pen open on the desk, water bottle filled, or whatever your first action needs to be. The point is that when you wake up, the first thing you see isn't chaos. It's a clear visual instruction. Do this. Combined, these 3 actions take under 5 minutes, but they can save you 10 times that in morning friction. And more importantly, they tell your brain, even at the end of a bad day, I still set the stage for the next battle. Part 3. Mind reset. If you've ever collapsed into bed exhausted only to have your thoughts go into overdrive, you know that tiredness and mental quiet are not the same thing. Unfinished tasks, unresolved conversations, and vague anxieties all compete for attention the moment external stimulation stops. Without a way to offload that noise, you lie there scrolling or ruminating, both of which steal the deep sleep your brain is begging for. Research on evening wind-down routines shows that simple practices like journaling, brain dumps, and planning the next day reduce stress, shorten sleep onset time, and increase the sense of control. The key is to keep it brief and structured, so your exhausted mind doesn't turn journaling into another overwhelming task. This is where the Japanese idea of hansei, critical reflection for learning, not self-punishment, fits perfectly. The mind reset kata is 3 short lines on paper. First, you do a 1 to 2 minute brain dump. Everything swirling in your head goes onto the page. Tasks, worries, random ideas, without editing. Second, you write, if I only do one meaningful thing tomorrow, it's based key, and you fill in a single concrete mission. This focuses your next day around one clear priority instead of a vague cloud of obligations. Third, you answer one hansei question. What made today harder than it needed to be? In a single honest sentence. You're not writing essays. You're closing open loops, choosing tomorrow's target, and extracting exactly one piece of intel from today's battle. Then you close the notebook and go to bed with far fewer mental tabs open. Over weeks, this tiny practice builds a track record of reflection and intention that compounds quietly. And because it's so small, you can keep doing it even when your brain feels cooked, which is precisely when you need it most. The disaster night samurai. No matter how good your system is, some nights will be catastrophes. Unexpected emergencies, travel days, emotional explosions, or pure burnout. On those nights, even a 10 to 15-minute routine can feel like climbing a mountain. If your system doesn't account for those nights, it's fragile. The samurai approach is different. It assumes disaster and designs for it. The rule on disaster nights is simple. Shrink the routine, don't delete it. Instead of trying to force the full 3-part kata, you drop to the absolute minimum that still preserves your identity as someone who does something on purpose. For this protocol, the minimum samurai is 3 actions. Drink 1 glass of water, put your phone outside the bedroom, and write tomorrow's one mission. That's it. No stretching, no cleaning, no hansei if you truly can't. Psychologically, this matters far more than it looks. Research on habit maintenance shows that what breaks people isn't a single missed day. It's the story they tell themselves after that miss. When a routine is all or nothing, one failure becomes, I blew it, which turns into a week, then a month. By having an officially sanctioned disaster mode, you keep the streak alive in an honest, realistic way. You didn't abandon the routine, you ran the emergency version. The standards stayed intact. Over time, these disaster nights become proof points. You start to see yourself as someone who, even when wrecked, still drinks the water, still exiles the phone, still writes the mission. That identity is worth more than any perfect streak on a habit app. It's the difference between discipline as a costume you wear on good days and discipline as something that survives your worst days. Why most people still quit. At this point, you have everything you need to run a samurai routine on exhausted nights: body reset, environment reset, mind reset, plus a disaster night fallback. It's short, realistic, and built on actual psychology. So why will most people still drop it after a week or two? The first reason is phase blindness. People don't understand that habits have stages. In the early honeymoon phase, novelty and motivation carry you. Then comes the long middle, what researchers describe as the grind phase, where the behavior still feels effortful, but the rewards aren't fully evident yet. This is exactly where most routines die, not because they're broken, but because people mistake normal difficulty for personal failure. The second reason is lack of structure and commitment devices. Information by itself rarely survives low-energy states. Without something like a written code, a signed commitment, or a daily tracking ritual, it's too easy to quietly negotiate with yourself. Tonight doesn't really matter. Over time, those exceptions become the rule. What felt like a strong start dissolves into a vague memory that you tried a routine once. The third reason is that this samurai routine is only one part of a bigger war. It protects your nights and sets up your mornings, but it doesn't by itself eliminate all the cheap dopamine that's frying your discipline, or define the training, deep work, and life structure you need to become someone entirely different. If you're surrounded by pornography, alcohol, junk food, endless scrolling, and zero structure during the rest of the day, no 10-minute routine can fully compensate for that. That's where a complete protocol comes in, not to replace this routine, but to plug it into a larger 66-day forge that rewires your entire lifestyle step by step. If all you do after this video is adopt the samurai routine for exhausted nights, you will already be ahead of almost everyone you know. You'll have a realistic, science-backed way to stop the nightly spiral, protect your sleep, and start tomorrow with intention instead of chaos. That alone is a meaningful upgrade. But if you're at the point where you don't just want to cope better with exhaustion and actually want to destroy the patterns that keep you exhausted, porn, alcohol, processed sugar, doom scrolling, missed workouts, chaotic mornings, then you need more than a single routine. You need a full, time-boxed protocol that tells you exactly what to eliminate, what to do, and how to survive each phase of the 66-day transformation. That's exactly what 66 Days of Steel, the samurai method to forge absolute discipline, is. Inside the ebook, you'll find the contract of honor you sign before day one, the full phase 1 fire protocol with the rust and the steel, the hammer phase with deep work, meditation and the +1 rule, and the Polish phase with absolute order, war aesthetics, strategy, the service, and nightly hansei. You'll also see how this exhausted night samurai routine fits into the larger system, plus the day 66 rite of passage and the scabbard maintenance plan. The link is in the pinned comment and in the description. If you're not ready for all that, start tonight with 1 glass of water, 1 phone exiled from your bedroom, and 1 line about tomorrow's mission. But if you are ready for a 66-day forge instead of another short-lived routine, click the link, get the ebook, sign the contract tonight, and let tomorrow be day 1 instead of someday. A final thing you need to understand is that discipline is not a personality upgrade. You unlock once and then keep forever. It's a relationship you build with yourself through thousands of tiny, boring, repeatable actions, especially when you are not at your best. Every time you run this samurai routine on a night when you feel destroyed, you're sending a very specific signal to your nervous system. My actions are not controlled by my mood. Over weeks, That signal literally reshapes your brain's wiring as cue routine reward loops become more automatic and less dependent on conscious effort. The point isn't that the routine is impressive. The point is that it is reliable. Reliability under low energy is far rarer and far more valuable than any motivational high you've felt so far. It also helps to drop the fantasy that your future, disciplined self will somehow wake up with infinitely more willpower than you have tonight. Research on self-control and ego depletion shows that self-regulation is a limited resource across the day, not a magical trait that suddenly appears once you get serious. That means the version of you who will be responsible for maintaining this routine in 30 or 60 days is not a superhero. It's the same tired human watching this right now, just with better systems around him. When you design your samurai routine with that humility in mind, you stop punishing yourself for being human and start building guardrails that make humanness less of a liability. Another deep shift is learning to think in systems, not episodes. One bad night, one skipped step, or one disaster mode version of the routine is not evidence that the system is broken. It's an expected stress test built into any realistic behavior change model. In fact, the data on long-term habit maintenance suggests that people who anticipate setbacks and pre-decide how they'll respond to them are far more likely to stay consistent than those who chase perfection. Your disaster night protocol isn't a backup plan. It is the plan for that specific context. Instead of seeing it as failing the routine, you see it as running the low-power version and then stepping back up when conditions improve. You should also treat your samurai routine as a laboratory, not a religion. The core structure, body, environment, mind, stays fixed because it's aligned with what we know about fatigue, decision load, and sleep. But inside those buckets, you're free to experiment over time. Maybe 2 minutes of stretching becomes a slow walk on some nights, or your brain dump evolves into a few bullet points of gratitude once your stress baseline drops. Habit science is clear that personal fit matters. Behaviors that feel meaningful and realistic to you are more likely to stick than ones you copy blindly from someone else. The rule is simple. Never change the structure on a bad day, and only upgrade the details after at least a couple of good weeks. Finally, remember that the real ROI of this whole routine is not just better sleep, less scrolling, or a cleaner desk. Those are surface-level wins. The real payoff is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can trust yourself when conditions are worst. Longitudinal research on habits shows that identity-based change, I am the kind of person who, is far more stable than outcome-based change. I want to lose X kilos, or I want to wake up earlier. Each exhausted night where you still execute your tiny kata is a vote for the identity of someone who doesn't abandon himself just because the day was hard. Stack enough of those votes and you stop chasing discipline as a